Oh, don't lie to me. You guys were all waiting for this one, weren't you? We are gonna push this live action recorder to its limits because we're going to go super analytical for these next 6 reviews. Yes, 6. So, we're done with the series for now until we do rankings. So, it's time to talk about the movies. And let's start with what is pretty much undeniably the best one as of right now. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990. I did grow up with this movie, but it's mainly because my mom had it. This is my mom's copy. You can tell from all the scratches and stuff, yeah, it's seen better days, but this is the exact DVD from my childhood. Somehow it's survived all these years, which surprised Steve and me. And I don't even know where to begin. Like, we're gonna try to be super analytical on this one. May or may not cross the hour mark, but yeah, I pretty much have nothing but praise to shower on this movie. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with the cast. I'm gonna talk about them for a brief moment, and then we're gonna go into an in-depth plot synopsis. I'll talk about my favorite parts, and then we'll end it off with my written review from my Facebook. Sound good? Alright, let's begin this amazing masterpiece, shall we? I'll have my Vegeta statue back there holding up the DVD. So let's start with this cast. First up, we have the human characters. We have Judith Hoag as April O'Neil, the best live-action April we've gotten thus far. And Elias Koteas, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, as Casey Jones. One of the best Caseys of all time. Easily the best one live-action. And then for the Turtles, I'll start with the voices, and then we'll do the people in suits. So, for the voices, we have John Pice as Raphael. He does an amazing job as Raph. Brian Tochi as Leonardo. Again, fantastic job. Completely nails the character's personality. Corey Feldman. Yes, that Corey Feldman. The one from, I believe it was Friday the 13th, Part 4, the final chapter. The first actor to play Tommy. Yeah, he's the voice of Donatello. He does a fantastic job. And then we have Robbie Rist as Michelangelo, who also does a great job. And, of course, comes back later in the 2012 show to voice, I believe it's Mondo Gecko. So, that's really cool. And then there's also Kevin Clash as the voice of Splinter. He does a phenomenal job. Then we have Michael Makani, sorry for mispronouncing your name, as Tatsu. Shredder's second in command, does an amazing job. Then you have James Saito as Shredder in the suit, in the costume. And then you have David McCarran providing his voice. Yeah, it's amazing. And then as for the actual human actor for Tatsu, that's Toshishiro Obata. Does a great job. Then we have Michael Turney as Danny, the token kid character of these live action movies. He does a decent job, though his character is not really all that interesting. Then we have Jay Patterson as his father, does a great job. One of the head thug in the scene where April almost gets mugged is played by Sam Rockwell. Yes, the guy that plays, what was it? Oh, the guy that plays Hammer, the evil villain Hammer in Iron Man, and he's also the voice of Mr. Wolf from The Bad Guys. So, yeah, this one's got quite the cast. It's really cool. And then as for the ones that are actually in the suits for the Turtles, David Foreman's Leonardo, Leif Tilden's Donatello, McKellen Sisti is Michelangelo, and doesn't list the one for Raphael. That's weird. Let me check the top cast, see if it'll list it there. Oh yeah, and John Pice also makes a cameo as the passenger in the cab. Where is it? Raphael. Huh. It's not listing whoever's in the suit for Raph. That's a bit strange. But okay. Oh yeah, and Skeet Ulrich is in this movie too. As another one of the thugs. And there's also Rick Gomez. Kevin Eastman makes a cameo as a citizen. Who is the taxi cab driver? That's what I want to know. Who is the taxi cab driver? Ah, Louis Cantarini. He does a good job in the little bit that he gets. So yeah, the cast is really good here. Pretty much all of them are putting in really good performances, especially the voice of the Turtles, who are just fantastic, and Judith Hoag and Elias Koteas, who do a fantastic job as April and Casey, respectively. Okay, now, or do we want to go into trivia? Let's do a little bit of trivia. A little bit. I think we can afford a little bit, right? The late great Robin Williams, who was a big fan of the franchise, provided Judith Hoag with information regarding her character through his comic book collection. The two were co-starring in Cadillac Man when the Turtles film went into production. Okay, that's really cool. That's really cool that Robin helped Judith gain character. That's really cool. Almost, it really makes me wish that he got to be in one of these Turtles projects. That would have been so cool. This was the highest-grossing independent film until The Blair Witch Project, having made $135 million in the domestic box office and $66 million in the foreign. Nice. The actors who physically portray the Turtles also have cameo roles in the film. John Pice plays Raphael, who plays a passenger in the back of the taxicab, right when Raphael rolls over the cab hood. McKellen Sisti, who plays Michelangelo, plays the pizza delivery man who delivers the pizza to the turtle sewer. Yeah, he's in one of the funniest scenes in the movie. Leif Tilden, who plays Donatello, plays the foot messenger that meets April in the subway station. And David Foreman, who plays Leonardo, plays a gang member in the warehouse during Casey's fight with Tatsu. Kind of cool they have all these cameos in here for the guys in the suits. Sorry, please forgive me, I have a cough drop in my mouth. Judith Hoag was not asked to reprise her role as April in the film's sequels due to her own personal complaining, particularly about the 6-day schedule and the amount of violence in the movie. Oh, that's a bummer. Shredder and the Foot Clan's hideout were filmed in an abandoned cement factory called the Ideal Cement Factory outside of Wilmington, North Carolina and Calvacade. This location was also used as a set for Dino Hatton in Super Mario Bros. 1993. And Top Dollar's nightclub in The Crow. Nice. So yeah, there's a lot of trivia. I'll leave a link in the description to the IMDb page for you guys that want to read them all. Alright, now for some of my favorite quotes. I'm only going to do 5, I promise. And apologies, Raphael's dialogue has some cursing, so if I slip up, I apologize. First we gotta do this one. This is one of the funniest scenes in the movie when Donnie, Casey, and everyone else had just returned to New York after their time away. And they're back in the sewer. And Casey is obviously against sleeping in the sewer. And Donatello immediately says, "You're a claustrophobic." You want a fist in the mouth? I've never even looked at another guy before. Just hilarious. Oh, and of course Michelangelo also has a pretty funny moment when he's watching a cartoon on April's TV. Watching Aesop and Son Tortoise in the Hare. Go! Move it, will ya? Oh, you're letting him blow right by ya! Can you believe this guy? Come on, don't just ninja kick the damn rabbit! Do something! It's a stupid scene, but it's so funny. What's another one? The ending, the last lines. We were awesome, bodacious, bitchin', gnarly, radical, totally tubular, dude, wicked, delicious, mega. I have always liked Cowabunga. Cowabunga! I made a funny. That's a great ending. I love that part. Oh, okay. Last one I'm gonna do. I swear, this is the last one. This is when Michelangelo has his interaction with the delivery man who's late because he couldn't find the address. Okay, 122. 122 and an eighth? 122 and an eighth. Terrific. Where the heck is 122 and an eighth? You're standing on it, dude. Just pass it down here. Give me that. Hey, this is a 10. The tab's 13. You're 2 minutes late, dude. Aw, come on. I couldn't find the place. Wise men say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. I gotta get a new route, and I thought I delivered everywhere. Like this movie is full of so many great, like legitimately great, hilarious jokes. It's so well written. Okay. Okay, enough messing around. Let's get to the plot synopsis, shall we? Synopsis. Alright, this is going to be a long read, so I apologize in advance. The camera pans over an aerial view of New York City as news reporter April O'Neil, played by Judith Ho, covers a story about a string of mysterious and seemingly organized thefts occurring across the city. We see various scenes of members of the gang, known as the Foot Clan, stealthily stealing various items from people right under their noses. As April walks across a vacant lot at the end of the day, she stumbles on a group of thieves stealing merchandise from her van. They pin her to the ground and attempt to steal from her when suddenly a single light in the lot goes out because, Raph throws a sigh and breaks the light bulb. Where was it? And by the time a nearby police unit arrives, the thugs have been tied up. April finds a sigh laying on the ground and puts it in her purse as a mysterious pair of eyes watches her from under the lid of a manhole. The figure curses under his breath before disappearing underground. Damn. Deep in the sewers, a unique silhouette introduces the main titles before four humanoid turtles wearing colored eye bands appear, or bandanas. They return to their home where their master, a large rat named Splinter, voiced by Kevin Clash, asks if they were seen and recites to them the importance of their continued training as ninjas, while Michelangelo is out ordering pizza at the nearby phone. His attempts to meditate are interrupted with one of the turtles turning on the radio and they all start partying. I believe that's Michelangelo who turns on the radio, and then the one that doesn't party is Raphael. The turtle with the red-eyed band, Raphael, voiced and acted by Josh Pye. Oh, okay, that's why, because he's in the suit and he does the voice. Interesting. I don't know why they didn't do that for the other turtles. Already irritated by the loss of his sai, announces that he's going out to a movie, wearing a trench coat and hat as a disguise, obviously an homage to the '87 show where they did the same thing. In the meantime, two of the turtles, Donatello, voiced by Corey Feldman and acted by Leif Tilden, and Michelangelo, voiced by Robbie Wrists and acted by Michael Insisti, apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name, wait for the delivery man, also Michael Insisti, and skimp out on paying full price for a 2-minute late pizza. While out, Raphael manages to trip up a couple of thugs trying to steal from an old woman. As they run into a nearby park, Raphael follows them and meets a vigilante who introduces himself as Casey Jones, played by Elias Koteas, wearing a hockey mask and armed with baseballs, bats, and cricket bats. Casey and Raphael get into an argument over the proper way to deal with the thugs and fight each other instead, ending with Raphael in a garbage can and fuming over being called a freak. Casey escapes and Raphael returns to the sewers where his temper is calmed with kind words from Splinter, but not before he openly yells "damn" so loud that the entire city can hear it. Again, another one of the funniest scenes in the movie. The next day, April pays a visit to the chief of police after a report where she is criticized by Chief Stearns, played by Raymond Serra, for putting her nose into his business regarding the supposed organized crime wave. She walks to the subway after getting yelled out of the office to go home and is confronted by a team of thieves dressed in concealing ninja garb, the Foot Clan. The leader slaps her across the face and tells her to keep her mouth shut about the Foot. When she tries to fight back, they knock her out but are attacked by Raphael in disguise. The Foot leader comes to in time to see Raphael carrying the unconscious April down the subway tunnel and follows them. Raphael takes April to the Turtles' hideout to everyone's disapproval, except for Mikey, who just wants to keep her because, she's hot. Well, he thinks that. The Foot leader peeks in through the doorway, sees the Turtles, and retreats. When April wakes up, she screams at the sight of the Turtles and of Splinter, who proceeds to explain who they are and why they're here. And then I'm not going to explain the origin again because they've already done that in 1,000 other turtle interpretations. So if you don't know it by now, then you're either watching Rise, which is just the wrong version, or you're just unaware. Each turtle also has his own weapon of choice. Raphael wields to size, or Sai, whatever. Leonardo practices swordsmanship with twin ninjato, or as it's more well known, katanas. And Donatello favors the bow, while Michelangelo prefers to nunchaku. The turtles escort April home and spend some time with her, at the expense of some frozen pizza. When they return home, they find their lair broken into and Splinter missing. With nowhere else to go, they return sullen to April and spend the rest of the night in her apartment. I'm not going to talk about the Danny storyline because it's really it's insignificant. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to go all the way down to here. Teenagers from across the city unload stolen items or play games under the watchful eye of Tatsu. Toshishiro Obata, voiced by Michael Makani. Again, I don't know why it's two different people, whatever. Who is second in command. A gong signals a mass meeting and everyone gathers in a large arena where their leader, Master Shredder, James Saito, voiced by David McCarran, a man clad in menacing ninja armor, addresses them as his outcast children. He tells them of a new threat to their order, a Splinter tied up against the wall in the back with chains. Listens. Upon mentioning the word turtles, Danny speaks up. So, in other words, Danny's just here to sell the turtles out to Shredder. You know what? The rest of the movie's so fun, I don't care. So, I'll let it slide. Sorry. I don't know why my voice is being weird. At April's apartment, the turtles watch the news as April updates on recent thefts and sends out a personal thanks to Raphael for rescuing her. However, Raphael and Leonardo soon get into a heated argument over what to do with Splinter gone, and Raph leaves the apartment. He goes to the roof, where he's ambushed by an army of Foot Clan ninjas. He's thrown unconscious back into April's apartment just after she gets home and the turtles are forced to fight. They all wind up in the antique shop below and are soon outnumbered as Tatsu arrives with reinforcements. However, Casey Jones, having seen Raphael having his, temper tantrum on the roof earlier, suddenly appears and helps the turtles escape through a secret doorway as the building catches fire. They escape in April's van and the ninjas retreat as the shop and apartment burn to the ground. Danny watches from afar. They decide to hide out at a farm that belonged to April's family, and everyone pitches in to make the place more livable. Okay, I'll talk about this for a little bit. As you guys know, in the comics, it was Leonardo who is the one that gets defeated, and they go to Casey's family farm. So the movie did switch a few things around, but it makes a lot of sense because Raph is one of the big main characters of the movie, so I don't really mind it that much. So it's one change that I don't mind. Where are we? And everyone pitches in to make the place more livable. Raphael remains unconscious and Leonardo provides an endless visual. April recounts what happened in a diary and draws sketches of the turtles while trying to resist the charm that Casey puts on her. And again, one of the funniest parts of the movie. Once Raphael comes to, the turtles reconcile and resume their training. Despite their absence from the city, Shredder is bent on finding them, telling Tatsu that their method of fighting reminds him of the past. While meditating, Leonardo manages to make contact with Splinter and convinces the others to join him in a seance that night. They all share a vision of Splinter, who tells them how proud he is and that they mastered training of the mind, becoming true ninjas before disappearing. Yeah, the effects of that are great, by the way. They still hold up. And also, I also really love that part where Mikey cries. Like, he is usually the goofy, silly turtle, but he knows when things are serious. The turtles decide to return to New York to find and rescue him. At the Foot Clan warehouse, I'm not going over that, that's dumb. The turtles return to their lair and find Danny hiding out in a closet. He tells April he ran away from his father, but will go back to him if he could just spend... I'm skipping that too. During the middle of the night, Danny abruptly leaves, but not before drawing the attention of Casey, who follows him. They go to the Foot Clan hideout, where Danny, confused, seeks out Splinter, while Casey knocks out a Foot Ninja and steals his outfit. And then Splinter tells him a story. Shredder discovers the two, asking where Danny's been before removing the drawing from his back pocket. He angrily walks away to gather his forces and tell Tatsu to kill the rat. Hearing this, Danny rushes back where he runs into Casey and explains that they have to rescue Splinter. They manage to get him out of the chains, but are stopped by Tatsu and a team of ninjas. Well, they're not really ninjas, because it's just the guys that just so happen to be in the hideout at that particular moment. Meanwhile, the Foot sets out to ambush the Turtles in their hideout, but are surprised by a sneak attack. The Turtles fiercely fight back and bring the conflict to the streets above, where they eventually wind up on a rooftop. As they fight, Casey engages Tatsu in one-on-one combat and manages to overpower him because of a golf club to the crotch. It's Casey, it fits his character. I will let it slide. Before leaving, he questions the gang members on their idea of this so-called family that they're a part of. Well, it's both him and Splinter, but whatever. After dispatching a few remaining ninjas, the Turtles are surprised by the sudden appearance of Shredder, who engages the Turtles in combat, but they prove to be no match for him. When the Turtles ask about Splinter, Shredder mocks them and implies that Shredder is dead. That Splinter is dead. Furious, Leonardo rushes him only to be pinned. The other Turtles are forced to throw down their weapons. Before another blow can be struck, Splinter appears on the roof and speaks out to Shredder, addressing him as Oroku Saki. Shredder charges Splinter with a Yari. Apparently that's what that weapon's called. But is flipped over the roof by Splinter's quick movements using one of Michelangelo's discarded nunchucks, which had hung on a ladder while the rest of the ninja weapons had fallen all the way down to the street. Using the coil of the nunchaku, Splinter holds Shredder by his Yari precariously over the edge of the roof. When Shredder throws a knife at him, Splinter releases his grip, causes Shredder to fall into the compactor of a garbage truck. Casey casually flips the switch and the hydraulic door closes, crushing Shredder's mask, and yeah, that's exactly like the comics, that Casey's a little screwed up in the head. Like, we don't actually see the body get crushed, but that's still a pretty gruesome death. The Turtles reunite with Splinter as police arrive on the scene and question the remaining Foot members, who reveal where all the stolen goods are being kept. April prepares to run a final update on the story when news crews arrive and gives Casey a celebratory kiss. The Turtles cheer and exchange slang exclamations. Before Splinter says that his favorite has always been Cowabunga, the Turtles unanimously agree and cheer. Splinter laughs, saying he made a funny, and the film ends on the Awesome to You RTLE Power song by Partners in Crime. That last part was not in the actual thing, but yeah. So, that is pretty much the entire plot of the movie explained. Overall, it is very well done. It's very faithful of its source material, while varying it up just enough to, be unique and interesting. So, yeah. Now I guess I'll talk a little bit about some of my favorite parts. Definitely the final fight. Like, that whole final fight is awesome. How it goes from the sewer all the way up to the street and then all the way up to the rooftop, like an escalation fight to the final boss. Like, that's so freaking cool. I love that. Another one of my favorite moments in the movie is definitely the scene after Raph gets outran by Casey after being dunked into a garbage can, and Splinter gives him this calming monologue that also, is very wisdomatic. I don't know how to say the word, but yeah, it's wisdomatic. It's just a really good scene, very well built and well done. I definitely really like the fight in April's apartment. I feel like it's done a little bit better in the 03 show, but that's a little minor nitpick. And while it is a little bit pointless, I do kind of like the fight between Casey and Tatsu and how it ends on a joke, and Casey, no matter how many punches he takes, just keeps throwing insults in his face. Oh man, I love this movie. And then the whole dance scene, the way the Ninja Turtles are even introduced in the movie is great. Having it be First with eyes under a sewer lid, and Raphael saying damn because he lost one of his eye, and then having a bunch of credits, and then right before the turtles come into view, have the logo come up to the screen, and then fly away as the turtle suits are revealed. And the suits themselves are fantastic. Like, this was made in the 90s, but I swear to you, this is amazing even by today's standards. It's almost all practical effects. There's little to no CGI needed whatsoever, and a lot of it was actually done on screen, making it feel a lot more real, instead, just half editing it and using a bunch of crappy CGI. No, this is pretty much all practical effects, incredible, well done, great stunt work, fantastic fight choreography, and then the writing's good too. It's adult, it's mature, but it's not afraid to be 87 cartoon level silly. And that's what I think makes this movie such a masterpiece, in my opinion, because it is able to perfectly balance being the super silly joke fest of the 87 series while also being the first piece of Turtles media to adapt an actual comic storyline from the comic books, while also giving it that much darker tone than the show itself. I mean, yes, that technically means it inspired the 87 show to try and be more serious, resulting in the not very good Red Sky Saga, but you know what, that's a minor nitpick. I still really love this. And then the set design is great, and the dialogue is great, the writing's really good. I'm just going to finish off with my written review, because I'm going to end up turning into a stuttering mess otherwise. So, great acting, fantastic suit designs, excellent writing, a very good story, great humor, an iconic soundtrack. Seriously, the soundtrack of this movie is a banger, whether it's the instrumental score or the pop songs they put in there. And they're really good songs too. I already mentioned Turtle Power. And then there's also a Spin That Wheel, which is used during Casey's infiltration of the Foot Clan hideout. What else? A great villain, iconic dialogue, great messages, a fantastic comic-accurate ending, high rewatchability, and a perfect balance of the goofiness of the 80s show with the dark seriousness of the original comics. Its only missteps are the odd pacing and a few lines being hit or miss every now and then. Yeah, as much as I love this movie, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect masterpiece, at least not quite. And it's because of the pacing. Sometimes it moves too fast, and other times it moves really slow. Like, it's very wildly inconsistent, but it's a very minor thing, so I've barely even noticed it. To put it simply, I adore this movie. I loved it as a kid, and over the years it's only gotten better as I keep finding more details and more great nods to the original source material every time I watch it. It's earned its icon status and is easily among my favorite comic book films of all time. And it only came out a year after Batman '89 revitalized comic book movies of that era in general, which is just incredible to me. I'd say go watch this film, but considering how massively successful it was back then, and how highly regarded it is to this very day, even though it took a while because, some snooty critics that just didn't understand this movie and what it was actually trying to do. I'd reckon you probably already have Cowabunga. Yeah, that pretty much sums up all my thoughts on this movie. It's dark, it's serious, it's goofy, it's silly, it's funny, it's action-packed. It's just a phenomenal Turtles movie. Like, I will never get sick and tired of watching this. It is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is up there with Batman '89, and it is a fantastic adaptation of a comic book. Pre-MCU, which makes it even more impressive. So, yeah, if you haven't watched this yet for whatever reason, go watch it right now. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It is a fantastic film, and if it weren't for the pacing, I'd probably just outright call it perfect. That might be my bias showing, but that's just how I am. The final verdict for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990 is going to be the highest 9.5 out of 10 that I can give it, and if you for some reason haven't seen this movie yet, go watch it right now, and if you have seen it, now's the perfect time to go and rewatch it, especially with the new one right around the corner. So, yeah, amazing film, fantastic job to everyone involved. I literally have nothing more to say. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And stay tuned because you still have at least 2 or 3 more reviews today. Starting off with the next installment of the 90s TMNT trilogy, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. And yes, I had this one on VHS because I got it from a Goodwill. So, how does it hold up? Is it as great as the first film? Obviously not, but is it still a really good movie? Well, you'll find out in the next review. So, I'll see you guys next time for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze. Cowabunga, dudes!